Ladies and gentlemen, on the 15th of October, the year 2025, news hit headlines that the former Prime Minister and the ODM party leader Raila Odinga had passed while receiving treatment in India. The only question that lingered in the mind of many Kenyans: who will take up the mantle and the throne of Raila Odinga in the Odinga family as the political enigma that Raila Odinga was? The only name that came into our mind in disappointment was none other than the name of the late son to Raila Odinga, Fidel Odinga. But the question that many of you have been asking: what really happened to Fidel Odinga? As we mourn Raila Odinga, allow me to take you down through the memory lane of what happened to Fidel Odinga, because he is the only son of Raila Odinga, being the firstborn son that had that had displayed every character of becoming the next big thing in the Luo politics. On 14th January the year 2015, the country was hit by the most tragic news of the passing of the firstborn son to the opposition leader then Raila Odinga. Fidel Castro Odinga, then at 41 years of age, had become the sweetheart to the Luo community, as many had crowned him the rightful heir to the throne of the Odinga family. The man who would have taken over his father's legacy and led the Luo nation to the presidency. But the dream was cut short on the fateful night of January 4th, 2015. Recently, the name of Fidel Odinga has been trending alongside that of the late Chief of Defense Forces General Gola, and also that of his father, the late Mzee Raila Odinga. The reason why these names have been trending is many have been trying to question: what does fate hold for the people of the Luo Nyanza region? Because the leaders that had portrayed the characters of ever taking over from Raila Odinga and propelling the flag of the Luo nation to the national politics again, all of them, most of them, have been faced by tragic, or let me say, untimely death. Getting back to the name of one Fidel Odinga. Now, with Kenyans arguing that Raila Odinga should have revealed the real cause behind his son's death, this was after Raila questioned the plane crash that killed CDF Ogola then last year, which was in the year 2024. According to Raila Odinga political rivalry, political rivalry, that is Miguna. He had in the past revealed that Raila Odinga had done something that took the life of his own son Fidel Odinga. But those were unsubstantiated reports. The question that many of you ask until date since the death of Fidel Odinga: what really happened on that fateful night? And what was the relationship between Fidel Odinga and his father, late Raila Odinga? According to a publication by the Standard newspaper, on January 7th, 3 days after the death of Fidel Odinga on 2015, I shall read the article. The Standard wrote, Kenyans will wait longer to know what caused the death of opposition leader Raila Odinga's firstborn son, Fidel Odinga, after the day-long postmortem exam, which was conducted, failed to yield conclusive report, paving way for further and more complex scientific tests. Now, the inconclusive results after the examination of Fidel's body by the government and family pathologist then at Lee Funeral Home. When a briefing was made, it was revealed that it would prolong the agony of the family and friends. Both parties agreed to resort to intensive laboratory analysis of samples taken to determine the cause of death, and since it was unclear how long that would take, there was a responsibility that Fidel, whose burial then was being planned, could be laid to rest before it is known what killed him, and that is what actually happened. Now, the postmortem was done then by Dr. Dorothy Jero, the lead government pathologist, in collaboration with family pathologist Dr. Emily Rogena and Dr. Bessie Bakika. The chief government pathologist then and until now, Jahansen Odor, supervised the exercise. Getting down to the story of Fidel Odinga. Many until date argue that Fidel Odinga died due to an OD, or let me say an overdose. But there are those that say Fidel was sacrificed. But one thing that happened is that the death of Fidel Odinga hit Raila Odinga so hard that he had to take care of his family first before anything. I remind you that in the same year that Fidel Odinga died, few months later, Raila Odinga's second-born daughter, or the second-born child, Rosemary Odinga, lost her eyesight, and Raila Odinga had to leave everything that he was doing for the Republic of Kenya to focus on making sure that his daughter gets well. And after 4 years of visiting every hospital, Rosemary Odinga finally regained her eyesight. Now, right now, questions linger, and many ask, what would have happened if Fidel Odinga would be alive today? One thing for sure, Fidel had portrayed every character that his father has currently, had deployed or had displayed in his controversial political life. That was including him being a rival to his own father, not listening to what his father was saying. Fidel was the life of the party. He was a man that loved life. He experienced life and built connections that were away from his own father's circle. And that is what made him the perfect candidate to have inherited his father as the Luo kingpin. And I tell you, if Fidel was alive today, the conversation that are currently looming all over social media on who actually deserves to take over the throne of Raila Odinga as the Luo Nyanza kingpin, that wouldn't have happened because Fidel would have actually taken over. Remember, before Fidel's death, he was expected to vie for the Kibera Member of Parliament seat in the year 2017. After his death, his sibling, the second-born child to Raila Odinga, Rosemary Odinga, also started preparing herself to get into the political scene. And she was meant to vie for the said seat that her brother was meant to vie. That was the Kibera parliamentary seat. But before anything could happen, Rosemary Odinga became sick and she could not vie due to the complications of the ailment that she was experiencing. Now, that is how the two children of Raila Odinga, the firstborn and the secondborn, ended up ended up not becoming the heir to their father's throne. The thirdborn child is none other than Raila Jr. Raila Jr. is also somebody that has the potential. But one thing that prevents Raila Jr. to get into the political scene is because of a condition that Raila Jr. suffers from, which has been a condition that he has lived with for so many years. Now, right now as we speak, we are burying Raila Odinga, but we are also burying the ambitions of the Raila's family, because most of the Raila Odinga's kids who are meant to be at the top and to inherit the throne can't do so Rosemary got away from the political scene. The only person remaining is Winnie Odinga, the last born daughter. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the actual story on what really happened to Fidel Odinga. And I dare tell you, if Fidel Odinga was alive, leave the you would have forgotten about the conversation that we are currently having of Babu Owino even taking over from Raila Odinga as the kingpin of the Luo Nyanza, because Fidel Odinga would have automatically been declared the kingpin of the Luo Nyanza politics. That's what's up, and make sure you subscribe. This is the Kenyan Daily Report. See you in our next video.